What's going on, y'all? Welcome to Triple Z. I'm your host, Isaiah Henry. The Cleveland Cavaliers look like an average team in the Eastern Conference. They were projected to be a top 2 seed, high expectation for the team and core players of Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, and Jared Allen going into their fourth year together. The reason so much is expected from the Cavs is because of how amazing they were in the regular season last year. Their over and under for win totals for the 2024-2025 season was 48.5. They won a total of 64 games, 64-15, first seed in the Eastern Conference. Kenny Ankinson, first-year head coach, came in and uplifted their offensive ceiling, off-ball movement, floor spacing, precision with their shooting, passing, and decision-making. The defense was top tier, ranking top 10 in defensive rating with Jared Allen and Evan Mobley on the back line. Deep bench rotation with Max Strus, Dean Wade, DeAndre Hunter, Ty Jerome, Sam Merrill. Donovan Mitchell had his best year as a Cav, even though he took a step back in minutes, points per game, and shot attempts. Cleveland had 3 players in Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, and Darius Garland make an all-star team. Mitchell made first-team All-NBA. Evan Mobley won Defensive Player of the Year, made his first All-NBA team, first All-Star team, another All-Defensive team as well. Cleveland Cavaliers had 2 separate streaks of winning 15 games in a row. Cleveland put themselves in position of being a legit contender for an NBA championship. They were looking at Boston at the time, who were the reigning champs, eye to eye for who can make it out of the Eastern Conference. Postseason comes around and injuries became the Cavs' kryptonite once again. If you go all the way back to 2024, the 2024 postseason, Jared Allen fractured his rib in game 4, round 1 against the Orlando Magic, and he was no longer available in the postseason. So that series goes to 7. Cleveland wins in game 7, but they no longer had their centerpiece in Jared Allen. They advanced to the second round against the Boston Celtics. And now it's Donovan Mitchell out with the calf strain, and the Cavs lose that series without Jared Allen and Donovan Mitchell. So that's a disappointing end to their postseason. In the 2025 postseason, Darius Garland missed time in the first round versus the Miami Heat in the 1-8 matchup with a toe injury. Now, Cleveland did what they were supposed to do. They were obviously the favorites in that series against a 8-seed Miami team, and Cleveland ends that series in 4 games, but they don't have Darius Garland for probably an extended time until the second round. Cleveland moves on to the second round, and now they're up against the Indiana Pacers. And even though Cleveland didn't have Darius Garland, they were still the favorites to win that series versus the Indiana Pacers. Game 1 comes around, and Evan Mobley and DeAndre Hunter get injured. Those are 2 key players to the Cleveland Cavaliers roster. Cleveland is down double digits in game 1, and they're trying to scratch and claw their way to have a comfort of being up 1-0 without Darius Garland, obviously, and Evan Mobley and DeAndre Hunter being out. But Cleveland, ends up losing that game, and now they're down 0-1 in this series. Come game 2, now it's no Darius Garland, no DeAndre Hunter, and no Evan Mobley. But Cleveland comes out of the gate swinging. They jump out to like a 15-point lead against the Cavaliers. I just remember Donovan Mitchell having a huge game. He was constantly putting pressure on the rim. He was getting downhill. He was getting to the free throw line. I believe he shot 17 of 21 from the free throw line, finished with 48 in that game. Like, the Cavs were in control in game 2, but then, the Indiana Pacers started to make their comeback. Halliburton was hitting some big shots. And if you remember, it came down to, pretty much the final possession for the Indiana Pacers, where Halliburton's at the free throw line. He misses the free throw, gets the offensive rebound, dribbles it back out to the perimeter, gets into his bag a little bit, step back 3 from the top of the key, knocks the shot down, and now it's a 120-119 lead in Indiana's favor, and the Cavs eventually lose again, and now they're down 0-2 in that series. They get Evan Mobley back in game 3. I remember that because I remember the Cavs doing like a 3-2 zone with Evan Mobley at the top of the zone. The Cavs won game 3, but then in game 4, I believe Donovan Mitchell aggravates his ankle, and then he leaves game 4 a little bit early, and then he comes back for game 5, but then that ankle is not 100%, and the Cavs end up losing that series, and it's another disappointing end to their postseason. This was supposed to be the year for Cleveland where they took grasp of a conference going through adversity. Indiana losing Tyrese Halliburton and trading away Miles Turner. The Magic traded for Desmond Bane, but that one trade wasn't going to solve all of the Magic's problems. The Bucks scrambling to keep Giannis Antetokounmpo happy regardless of the roster not meeting his satisfaction. Philadelphia not playing Joel Embiid in back-to-backs and Paul George missing training camps. The Celtics tearing apart their championship core, going through adversity with the Jason Tatum injury. Cleveland was projected, rightfully so, to be better than Detroit, Toronto, and Miami based on their success last season. At the time of this recording, the Cavaliers are 14-11, the 8th seed in the Eastern Conference. Last season, through 25 games, the Cavs were 21-4. Now, I wasn't expecting them to come into this season and be 21-4 again, but if they were 18-7, that would be a lot better, right? You'll feel a lot more confident about the Cleveland Cavaliers. They're clearly not the same team. Now, to be fair, they had some off-season injuries. Max Strus injured his foot. Darius Garland had toe surgery in the offseason. Cavs made slight changes to their roster. They traded away Ty Jerome and they brought in Lonzo Ball. Even though the Cavs were missing some players, right? This was still a loaded roster with Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen, Lonzo Ball, DeAndre Hunter, Sam Merrill, Dean Wade. They still had a lot of good players on their roster, right? And they were still seen as a top-tier team in the Eastern Conference. Like, a lot of people, including myself, expected the Cavs to be a top 3 seed, hovering around, 50 to 55 wins. I didn't expect them to have back-to-back seasons of winning 60 games, but I saw them as a 50-plus win team, guaranteed, right? Alongside with the New York Knicks. Darius Garland is back from injury, but that toe is still giving him problems. Doesn't have the same quickness or speed to get around defenders. In their game against the Portland Trailblazers, they lost, and I can't remember if that was Darius Garland's, second or third game back, or maybe fourth game back. I can't remember, but he did not have a good game, especially with Tamani Kimura guarding him, a bigger physical defender, and Darius Garland tends to struggle when he has size on him. And he just couldn't get around him, couldn't create that separation, couldn't get to his spots with ease. And, that's going to be a struggle for Darius Garland, probably within the next couple of games. Like, it's going to take him time to get comfortable with that toe and really, get back to who he is, which is an all-star level guard in this league. The loss against the Warriors, I believe they lost, 99-94? Yes, 99-94. Now, in this game, the Cavs were down players, right? No Lonzo Ball, no Jared Allen. You're still dealing with Darius Garland's toe. Max Strus is out, obviously. Like, other players were out. Sam Merrill. The Warriors didn't have Draymond Green, Steph Curry, and Jimmy Butler. And I understand that it's a second night of back-to-back for the Cavaliers, and I believe for the Golden State Warriors. But for Cleveland, this is a game you have to win. The Cavs shot 10 of 42 from 3. That's been a struggle for them as of late, the three-point shooting. For the season, they're shooting 34% from 3. Last season, they were second in three-point percentage at 38%. Now, there's factors into that, right? Dean Wade is shooting a career low from 3, 29%. You don't have Sam Merrill out there. You don't have Max Strus. Darius Garland's toe is probably affecting him in a sense where he can't get the same elevation on his jump shot because of the toe injury. And like Donovan Mitchell has to jack up a lot of threes, which, he's a great three-point shooter, but he has to jack up a lot of threes in order to keep the Cavs within ball games. And now you have like Evan Mobley attempting 5 threes in a game, and Thomas Bryant attempting 2 to 3 threes in a game. And I just don't know if the Cavs really want that from their front court. The lineups on the court is something that also catches your eyes because they're hurt right now, right? They're missing, key rotation players. So Kenny Ankinson, he has to see what works and what doesn't work. Like, this is all he has right now. So he has to see who's on that bench, who can give me a spark, who can go on a run, who can hit some three-point shots, who can give us defensive energy. It's been Jalen Tyson, too. Jalen Tyson has been really good in the second year. I like what he does for the Cavaliers. He's going to have some time in some postseason games. But usually with the Cavs, obviously they run the starting lineup with, the backcourt, Darius Garland and, Donovan Mitchell, and then their front court with Evan Mobley and Jared Allen, then whoever you want to put at the small forward position. They run that lineup, obviously, to start the game. And then you see the substitutions where it's Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley time, and Darius Garland and Jared Allen's on the bench. And then you see the switch of Darius Garland and Jared Allen on the court. In that Warriors game, you saw Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley have their minutes together, but then you saw Darius Garland and Thomas Bryant, and that combination was just eye-opening to me because you have a hobbled Darius Garland, but then for Thomas Bryant, he doesn't fulfill anywhere near to what Jared Allen's able to do on the court for the Cavaliers. And hopefully I formed that sentence correctly because Jared Allen can make plays in the short roll. You can give him the ball to get his post-up touches. He can make quick decisions. He can throw lobs. He's a good passer. He understands, he's a connector on both ends. And Thomas Bryant isn't that, right? But I understand for Kenny Ankinson, you have to work with what you have, right? DeAndre Hunter had a terrible performance in the Warriors' loss. I think he was like 2 of 9 from the field, went 0 of 4 from 3. In his last 4 games, he's shooting 37% from the field, 17% from 3. I knew Kenny Ankinson was desperate when he had to play Luke Travers. Now, he only played 5 minutes, but I'm like, this is not going to be a player who even sniffs time in the postseason unless there's like garbage minutes. There was other factors to the Cavs losing against the Warriors. I think they put up a season low 36 points at halftime. The Cavs had 24 offensive rebounds to the Warriors' 8 offensive rebounds. Like, that's supposed to be an area where the Cavs capitalize on second chance opportunities. If you get an offensive rebound, you kick it back out to the perimeter for a 3-point shot. But obviously the 3 ball wasn't falling for the Cavaliers. They shot 10 of 42, like I mentioned earlier in the video, which is 23%. Cleveland from the field went 37 of 107, 34%. They won the possession battle against the Warriors. The Warriors went 33 of 86, 38%. So Cleveland had so many possessions, but they just couldn't capitalize on, the offensive end. They had 61 rebounds to the Warriors' 46. Warriors had 25 assists. Cleveland had 15, so the ball wasn't moving too much for the Cavaliers. They were really dependent on Donovan Mitchell having a late spark, I want to say in the 4th quarter. But there's missing elements to their half-court fluidity. The floor spacing, players, off-ball movement, the ball movement, cuts, and screens. The Cavs were number 1 in offense in the half court, 105 points per 100 plays, according to Cleaning the Glass. This season, they're 14th, 97.5 points per 100 plays. The league average is 97.9. Evan Mobley, on Cavs Reddit, they're calling him Mr. 18-8. And mind you, 18-8, those are good stats. If you average that for your career in the NBA, you're a pretty damn good player. Evan Mobley, last season, that's when he made the jump, right? He made an All-NBA team. He made his first All-Star team, 1 DPOY. Kenny Ankinson did a great job of giving Evan Mobley more touches, having him initiate the offense, attack more off the bounce, putting him in positions to be aggressive, to make mistakes, to elevate his game on both ends, right? Like, Evan Mobley made a significant jump for the Cavaliers, and that helped them become a 64-win team. And I never been a big Evan Mobley guy. I know that he's good, but I just never been on that bandwagon. The way how Donovan Mitchell and Kenny Ankinson spoke about Evan Mobley, I remember Donovan Mitchell doing an interview, and he was saying that if Evan Mobley feels as if he's not getting enough touches, he has to demand the ball from us. He's that kind of player where he has to get a touch almost every single time down the court because he means that much to our team's identity on both ends. Our philosophy of the ball movement, the turning a good shot into a great shot, him attacking off the bounce, like he is an important piece to what we're trying to accomplish, right? So you want to uplift Evan Mobley to be a better player, to be a better initiator, to be a better scorer, to be a better three-point shooter. You want him to do so many different things because he's capable of adding those aspects to his game. And Kenny Ankinson talking about, the offense has to run through him. And then when I was hearing those comments about Evan Mobley, I was like, all right, like, okay, like let's see if he can make another jump, right? I was a little bit more intrigued with Evan Mobley. And I remember Kenny Beecham on Numbers on the Board, shout out to the GOAT, he made a bold prediction saying that Evan Mobley will be the second leading scorer on the Cavaliers. And I was like, yeah, that's pretty legit. Like, I can see that happening, right? Like, it's obviously going to be Donovan Mitchell. He's probably going to have his 25. But then if Evan Mobley can get around, like, 22, 23, right? Shoot efficiently from the field, shoot efficiently, or maybe the same percentage he shot last season, 37% from three. I'm totally down for Evan Mobley being the second leading scorer on the Cavs. He is the second leading scorer on the Cavs, but it's like the same numbers. Last season, he averaged like 18 points. This season, he's averaging 18 points, hence the name Mr. 18 and 8. The free throw percentage is down. The three-point percentage is down. And I think that's due to him having more responsibilities, more shot attempts. So he's trying to, get comfortable with all of that. But in this moment in time where it's Jared Allen out and Darius Garland, I feel as if Mobley should be averaging 23, 24, 25 a night with, those two other players out. And against the Warriors, where it's no Jimmy Butler and no Draymond Green, two players who are most likely going to be matched up against Evan Mobley, they didn't play. I felt like this could have been a game, and it's so easy to say this, especially not being an NBA player, but if you're seeing, Quinton Post and Santos at the front court position, I felt like this could have been a game where Evan Mobley, go get you a 30-piece. Go get you a 40-piece. Right? Like, it should have been one of those games for Evan Mobley. So I thought for Evan Mobley, there was another level he could reach that could really secure Cleveland as a top 2 seed and contenders to make it out of the Eastern Conference. But it's still early, right? Like, obviously, I don't think the Cavs are going to be like this forever. They're going to get healthy. Garland, Max Strus, they're going to have their group back together, be this deep roster team. And, they're going to go on a stretch, in January, February, March, right? So I'm just talking about now. Like, it just looks bad. It really does look bad. And Donovan Mitchell, I feel like it's so often he has to really put that backpack on and really carry the load. Like, if Donovan Mitchell doesn't score 35 plus, I don't think the Cavs are winning. Seriously, like, he has to do so much. He has to exert so much energy. He's averaging a career high in points, field goal percentage, 3-point percentage. He's leading the league in 3-point makes at 4 on like 11 attempts a game, I believe. He's shooting 38% from 3. Like, Donovan Mitchell, he's one of those guys who's capable of, putting on that backpack and like climbing up the hill. But with Mitchell, can that backfire in the postseason? Because, in 2024 and 2025, he's dealt with some injuries, right? 2024, the calf strain, and then 2025, he aggravated that ankle, in game 4, and it affected him in game 5, right? So you want Donovan Mitchell healthy. You don't want him to, exert too much energy. But I guess he has to do what needs to be done, right, in order to keep Cleveland above water at this moment in time. For Cleveland, it's finals or bust. Seriously. If they don't make the NBA finals, or if they're not in the conference finals where they're in game 7, I think this group is going to be torn apart. There's still time for the Cavs. Like, once they get healthy with Garland, Max Strus, and, they have their deep roster, the 3-ball starts falling, they get back to that offensive identity and defensive identity, this team's going to win 50-plus games, right? But it's really going to come down to that postseason run, man. They need to make it to the NBA Finals or it's over. It's completely over. Thank you for listening to Triple Z. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment down below about the Cavaliers. Can they turn things around for the better? Is this a finals or bust year for the Cavaliers? I would love to hear your thoughts. See you guys next time.